What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Boleros. Sam here with the Sultan of Sando, Mr. Gablim, and Mr. Maui Yap. Today, we are going to react to that crazy NBA Finals, Western Conference Finals Game 7 between the Spurs and the OKC Thunder. And we'll also do our finals preview. Spurs versus Knicks, rematch of the 1999 NBA Finals. Gab, Maui, let's talk about...
Wait lang. Sinabi ko to about the Knicks, so I'm gonna say it about the Spurs.
Ano?
For the first time since 2014, the Spurs are back!
The Spurs are back! Oo nga.
Alam mo na ng Jinx, sinabi niya parehas. Is back.
Walang bias dito. Walang bias dito sa Boleros. Kahit sa NBA, walang bias. Except Lakers.
Spurs are back in the NBA Finals. What a Game 7!
What a game.
That is a Game 7. That is a Game 7. Yun eh.
Crazy. Okay, so let's talk about that. The Game 7. Before we talk about Spurs versus Knicks, we have to talk about this Game 7. We can go a lot of ways. We can go Spurs, diba? We can talk about like Wemby, Julian Champagny hitting 6 3-points. Si Keldon Johnson nabuhay nung second half. We can talk about OKC. SGA having the best game of the series but not being enough because Chet Holmgren was missing. Where do you guys want to start? You want to start with the Spurs side? You want to start with the OKC side? But up to you. But I do want to start with the prophet, Mr. Maui Yap.
Magay. Keldon
Start
Johnson.
with the nuns, Mr. Prophet.
Then, nag-trending yan sa X. They said, invite the nuns to all 4 games in the finals if it reaches 4 games. The Spurs have surprised us. Wemby is finally in the finals at 22. That's crazy. Even earlier than LeBron. I think si Wemby is breaking so many records. So many records will be Wemby's record once his career is said and done. I don't think he will lose GOAT potential if he loses the finals. I just have to say that. You don't have to be 6-0 in the finals to become the GOAT of the NBA. Getting to the finals is better. Beating SGA and the OKC Thunder are better than losing in the finals.
Yung may Jordan LeBron hirit ka pa dito.
Jordan LeBron hirit tayo, di ba? But Wemby getting to the finals at 22, this Spurs team is, I think, much like the Thunder, one of the youngest teams to make it to the finals. I can't believe that the Spurs are now in the finals. We get a rematch of the NBA Cup. I think this is the first time that we can get a champion that played in the NBA Cup Finals. Maybe the NBA can get
Adam
some
Silver is
relevancy.
happy.
I was gonna say, gusto yan ni Adam Silver. That's why the NBA Cup matters.
I
That's
told
why
you
the
it
NBA
works.
Cup matters.
I told you the NBA Cup works.
There were so many, I think, bad juju from the teams that performed well in the NBA Cup. But now we get a champion that played in the NBA Cup Finals. I think the Spurs are favored. I think if you look at the sports books, the Spurs are probably favored. But I think this finals could be exciting. One for the books. Both teams play small ball lineups. Despite Wemby being 7-3, 7-4, I think both teams play small ball lineups. Both teams have pretty exciting guards. I'm excited to see who New York will match up with Wemby first in the finals. I think si Anunoby was the guy that was defending during the season. But I think that Game 7 by the Spurs was special because a lot of people really contributed. We did not see a 40-20 Wemby game. We saw Justin Champagny 6 3-pointer game. We saw Keldon Johnson playing a pretty good, being very pivotal in that final quarter.
Benta mo na yung Keldon Johnson rookie cards mo, Maui.
Hoops Card Collector PH on IG. Look at my Keldon Johnson collection. I was the first guy to believe that this team could build on Keldon Johnson after a few years. But yeah, we saw Dylan Harper having a pretty good game. Stephon, I think this was De'Aaron Fox best game also of the series.
Mm,
So
mm.
you're a Spurs fan, you would be very excited. I think only Devin Vassell was the one that really struggled nung game 7, but he was a menace also on defense. I think he let his frustration out on that fast break dunk to end the game. I think si Luke Cornett was also pivotal with that crucial block leading to a Harper basket. Just all around team basketball. OG San Antonio Spurs, everybody contributed right off the bat. Very good to reach the finals. I'm happy. I have some sort of bias for the Spurs and some hatred. I think si Sammy would agree with the OKC Thunder, but I'm happy that they make the finals. I did not expect this in my wildest dreams when they drafted Wemby to be in the finals this early. I expected Wemby to become one of to have some GOAT or Hall of Fame potential. I did not expect them to get to the finals this early. Huge credit to Mitch Johnson and Greg Popovich. I think even just getting si Champagne. I cannot believe this guy is 24 years old. And the Spurs were able to get him. Shout out again to Daryl Morey. He's becoming shout out on our podcast. Cap.
Yeah, you gave a shout out to the offense. Yeah. That yung pinaka napasigaw ako was, I think the lead was cut down to 8 or 7. Then Wemby was isolated on Jalen Williams. Did crossover between the legs, step back 3, bang. And I'm like, what the hell? Yeah, you talk about the Luke Cornett block. That was actually the turning point. In fairness to Luke Cornett, he's been having a really bad series. The on-off numbers between him and Webby are wild, but he made the biggest play of the series. No cap. That was the biggest play of the series. Because that was a 97-91.
Parang 6-point lead, yeah.
Hartenstein stole the ball. Was going to go all the way. That would have cut down the lead to 4.
Mm-hmm.
But Luke Cornett trailing that play and this monster block. Partida, wala pa yung mga nuns dun sa OKC. So his full power was not on display for Luke Cornett. And nagsabay lahat eh. I mean, you talk about Wemby just carrying the defense and hitting the shots when needed. Fox had a pretty efficient game, 15 points. Si Castle at 16, 6, and 6. But I do want to give a shout out to their defense. Their defense definitely won them this game. I know Shea had 35 points, but you look at that fourth quarter, and he was gassed. He was exhausted. They zoomed in on him, and he was breathing hard. When they needed a basket in those last couple of possessions, Castle was hard denying him. Fox was hard denying him. He did not even have the energy to go get the ball anymore. But I do remember there were last 2 possessions. The Thunder just had bad shots because Shea was not even trying to get the ball anymore. He was just so exhausted. And that's the defense of the Spurs. Imagine 7 games of Stephon Castle, De'Aaron Fox, Julian Champagny, just clamped over you, hugging you for a lot of possession, just being so physical. And he hard carried OKC in this game, and the lack of another ball creator really hurt OKC. You talk about the 2 who were injured, Jalen Williams and AJ Mitchell. They were the 2 secondary ball handlers, ball creators, shot creators on this team, and they were both out.
The biggest winner of the Thunder losing, Jalen Williams.
Yep. And this is where they needed a guy like Chet Holmgren to step up on offense, and he was nowhere to be found. 2 shots? Are you kidding me? He didn't take a shot in the second half.
Okay lang if you missed a ton, no? Pero when you
He wasn't
don't
even
make
trying.
any attempts, that's
He wasn't
crazy.
even trying. Sam, I really think Wemby got into his head that he was I don't know, he was intimidated, scared of Wemby. There was one time he got the ball in the corner. He tried to drive against Wemby. I thought, okay, wow, he's gonna try something, and then he fell down and turned the ball over. He just he couldn't handle passes anymore. He made a big he made big defensive plays. He had a big block, I think, on Dylan Harper in the fourth quarter. But other times he was needed on offense. He was needed to make shots, to take shots, because the burden on SJ was just so big to create offense for this OKC team. And Chet just fumbled. This was a choke job of all choke jobs. He was amazing against the Lakers, but no one's gonna remember that because everyone's just gonna remember
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Tayo
this
lang,
choke job of a
mga,
game 7.
mga Lakers
Diba?
fan. Shout out to Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray for ruining our sleep all these years.
Yes, but yeah, Chet Holmgren is not gonna have a very good summer. People are gonna be raining down on him. They're gonna criticize him to no end because that was bad. That was just so bad. And not only the 2 shots and 4 points, Sam Maui. He only had 4 rebounds. Like, bro, come on. Do something. He wasn't doing anything. And see, Alex Caruso was tried to get some offense going. He had a bad shooting night. He was trying to create offense. He was trying so hard to. He was shooting pull up contested threes. That's not his game. That's not Alex Caruso. He was trying to drive hard to the basket against Victor Wembanyama. Almost dunked on Wemby. I'll give him that. Might have injured his wrist uh, on that dunk attempt, but he was trying so hard to create offense to just lessen the burden on Shea. Couldn't do it. Kayson Wallace, I do think we have to give him a shout out. He kept OKC in this game in the fourth quarter. They had no offense at all except for Kayson Wallace hitting threes. And
Almost
they
brought
wouldn't.
them back.
Yeah, Sam, he was the only one keeping them alive on offense. Those, I think he had made 3 threes, 3 straight threes. That kept them in the game, but it just wasn't enough. Towards the end, bad shot after bad shot. You could not. Shea just didn't have gas left, and that's something I have never seen before from Shea. The amount of pressure, the amount of physicality the Spurs brought to SGA in this series, I don't think Shea has ever encountered before. And if you look back through the season, I think they've beaten the Spurs 8 times. Ano ba? They beaten them a total of 8 times this season. They beat them 4. Yung 4 times in the regular season and 4 times here in the playoffs. So 8 times they've beaten the Thunder.
The Thunder. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah,
They
I think may graphic. Diba yung losses ng Thunder? Ang ganda nung sinabi mo, Gab, kasi I think may graphic. The total number of losses of the Thunder versus the rest of the 28 teams, and the Spurs were able to beat them 8 times in a season where I think their accumulated losses is probably only close to 20. That's crazy.
And another thing about the Spurs defense and the OKC offense, it's just so hard to get any shots off when Wemby's there. Diba?
Kahit
You
yung
can
mga
see-
threes, no? Talagang hinahabol niya eh.
Yeah, there was a play. I think there was a turnover by the Spurs. It went to Jared McCain. This was in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Jared McCain had a wide open three. Wemby was chasing him down from full court, and I think it really affected Jared McCain. I think it would have cut the lead to a single possession. He missed it, but I bet he was looking at Wemby coming from the half court and thinking that he might actually reach this and block this shot, because grabe, every time someone would get into the paint, nothing, shut off. Even the press, even if Wemby was not even near him, you just have to think about Wemby every time. Grabe, his defensive, his effect on defense is unfathomable. He changes so many things on defense.
Yeah, I think Zach Lowe, I think mentioned the one-man zone or the unbox and one, yung tawag nila. Because si Wemby lang yung parang nandun sa baba. Crazy, crazy. I think he also had one challenge. I don't know if that was the Jared McCain shot na parang, it was like the Luke Cornett block. But it's Wemby. So, iba yung impact ng makita mo si Wemby na tumatalon kahit malayo. It really affects your shot. Maui, anything to add siguro from the West Final?
Yeah, I think a lot of si Gab mentioning about the Thunder, a lot of it, they have a lot of questions to answer right now after losing to the finals. Just a few months ago, a lot of people were Jalen Williams was saying that they'll beat the 1998 Bulls. He was saying that they'll beat the Golden State Warriors dynasty with Kevin Durant. Kinain nila lahat. And I think the rumors have already started. Diba?
Should they blow it up?
Are you overreacting? That was actually my next question. If you're OKC, are you overreacting to this? And
ako personally, to answer your question, Sam, I don't think the OKC Thunder are overreacting when it comes to finding a guy who can have a solution with Wembanyama. I think yung value ni Chet Holmgren is not that high after that series, but a lot of teams will be happy to get him. He was still he's still an all-star versus the 28 other teams. Diba? He'll have to figure this out. He's only 24 years old. A bit si Wemby is only 22. So that's a bit crazy. But yeah, I don't think the fans, I don't think the analysts are overreacting. Remember, this the new NBA. You are limited by what you can sign most of the time. You don't know. The OKC has a lot of picks. So I think is the question, the right question that Gab said is it right? Is it the time to blow it up? Should they get Giannis or should they get somebody to match up better with Wembanyama? Because Wemby will not. He's only 22, as I've said. Diba? He will be here for the next decade or so. And it's crazy lang to say that they have a lot of questions to answer after this. Because the contract of Wemby, the contract of Jalen Williams will start to kick in. Even si Kayson Wallace was quoted saying nung press conference
the
that
contract of Chet, you mean? Not
yeah,
Chet.
Chet.
Sorry, Chet.
Yeah.
Chet and Jalen Williams. Even si Kayson Wallace, I think, was quoted in his post-game interview saying that he wants the ball more in his hands. That he likes to watch him during parts of the season. Diba? He likes watching himself nung parts of the seasons where he had the ball in his hands. I think when si SGA was injured. So many questions and so many things to watch out for when you're an OKC Thunder fan. And losing really does a lot of things. Diba? Questions, it breaks that barrier. When you lose, you have to answer a lot of questions. When you lose, you have to, a lot of people question their roles, start to question their role. So it's going to be a very interesting, I would say, probably the most interesting off-season for OKC in a while.
I'm with Maui. I don't think they should blow it up, just trade away all their main guys. In fact, for me, I think they should just keep this core and try to get back at the Spurs. Diba? Who doesn't want a revenge story?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, you can't ask for a better core anyway than this very young team. OKC is still young. Aside from SGA and probably Kenrich Williams, they're all still young. They still have a top. Ano bang pick nakuha nila for
12.
They still have a lottery pick. See
14
Thomas
and
Sorber,
17,
who was
diba?
their previous
12 and
lottery pick.
17, yeah.
12 and
12 and
17.
17.
And then si Thomas Sorber, their previous lottery pick, is still has yet to play. Si Nikola Topic has barely played.
Topic.
Also a lottery pick. So they still have a ton of talent.
And remember, they had two of their top guys missing in the playoffs in the West Finals.
Yeah. And I think Maui said this kanina, biggest winner is Jalen Williams. Yeah, I do think so. I do think so because nakita ang value ni Jalen Williams in this series. And
At
in
least he was trying. He was taking shots.
I think he had a good game one. He played in game one, but on and off after that just couldn't get. And hamstring strains are really tricky. I've had a hamstring strain. You think you're fine one day, you're running, then you get to an actual intense game, and the pain is there again. Just it's really tricky. You could easily just strain it again. You after feeling fine. So I think that's what happened to him. He tried to get back. He felt fine, but in the intensity of the game, probably strained it again. It's a thing with torn muscles. It's really hard to get back from it that quickly, at least. But yeah, Jalen Williams scored 40 points last season in the finals. He's a guy who can take shots. He's a guy who can take pressure off Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Shea. And AJ Mitchell also could make plays for himself. Again, take the pressure off Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. I think the value of those two guys just went up. I don't think they should be blowing it up just because of this. I think if you're Sam Presti, you have to look at this. Our two most important offensive guys were not present here, and I don't think they should be panicking. And I don't think Sam Presti makes panic trades. I don't think he's ever made a panic trade. The James Harden trade was done to be cheap, diba? Because they couldn't afford him. Otherwise, siguro, yung Paul George trade na siguro yung pinaka, panicky niya, but hindi rin eh. He got, I don't know, would you consider the Paul George a panic trade?
Not really.
I wouldn't
parang,
because Paul George was an MVP candidate during that time.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's not Sam Presti's style to blow things up and make panic trades. I still think he believes in this team, and he has a pretty young team at that. And I would be excited to see them try to get back and have a chip on their shoulder next season. Just another note, you remember earlier in the season when I think we had an episode and we were talking about, can this team pass 73 wins? Just beat that 73 win record? And remember when the Spurs beat them thrice, I think in a span of a month.
Yeah.
Everyone stopped talking about it anymore. Like, okay, it's not happening. So the Spurs just immediately shut off that argument, that storyline. Amazing.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not panicking. Although people have been bringing up Chet Holmgren trades, or maybe trading the 12th and 17th pick for a higher pick. Some of the discussions, but again, for me, the team was not complete. It could have. They were this close to making it to the finals, despite not having. Oh, that's
130
true.
footer 3-pointer for getting to the finals.
To the
Let's
finals.
be realistic.
Despite not having J-Dub and some of their top players. Some notes, I think, for me, the Spurs, you mentioned, Maui, Wemby making it to the finals this young. Sort of just, I was trying to remember, parang, obviously you have the LeBron Cavs versus Spurs, first time he makes it to the finals moment. I was thinking of another team na parang group of young guys who made it to the finals. The only thing I could think about was the
OKC.
Thunder. OKC, exactly. I checked. KD was in his fourth year, so a bit older experience-wise versus Wemby. But Westbrook was in his third year. James Harden and Ibaka were in their second year when they made it to the finals. So parang yun na yung closest for me with like Wemby, Castle, and Harper being this young. Sort of reminds me of the KD, Harden, Westbrook young core that made it to the finals.
Oh, we did talk a lot about Harper. Game 7, this guy. My God.
Crazy that a rookie is doing these things. A rookie, please, yun yung sasabihin ko, Maui. A rookie point guard playing this good. Please, alam ko eligible yan, di ba, Maui? Eligible dapat si Harper sa Gilas.
Not sure.
But if he is, Coach Tim Ko, do everything you can to get this guy to
Maglaro muna
Gilas.
sa Hinebra.
Hinebra muna.
Oh my God.
Kings.
45 siya. He'll
Harper
play
to
for
the
Ginebra.
Kings. Yeah, Dylan Harper. I do want to shout out Fox also. I think this was his best game. I didn't like how he was playing the previous games. Obviously, he's been playing hurt. I think this was his most solid game. Hopefully, the injury, he's getting back to 100%. It's the injury is not bothering him as much. But I think the most clutch play from De'Aaron Fox was that foul in the last like 20 seconds of the game. Just burning some more time off the clock. Veteran move, clutch foul by one of the clutch players of the year, De'Aaron Fox. Any final notes on the Spurs versus OKC game before we move on to the NBA Finals preview? Meron palang mga nag-comment, nakita ko in one of the podcasts. Chet Holmgren looking like Ben Simmons against Atlanta.
Oh my God.
So that's scary kasi si Ben Simmons after that just broke him, right? So hopefully that's not going to happen to Chet. Final comments.
I have fun facts lang before we go to. I think we discussed this with you guys before we went on air for this. Karl Anthony Towns was wearing a T-shirt on his Knicks debut of the Spurs and Knicks 99 finals. I think another thing I would like to say is just a shout out to the Sacramento Kings, Light the Beam. First they traded Hallie, and Hallie gets to the finals. Next they traded Fox, and Fox is in the finals. And finally they decided to fire Mike Brown, who is also in the finals. Shout out to Light the Beam Kings.
Oo nga, no? Hindi ko naisip yun. So we have to watch out who the Kings will be trading next. So who will make it to the
Get some
finals
bonus in the
next?
finals. Let's go.
Let's trade
Oh
sa
my
bonus. Okay, let's talk about Knicks versus Spurs before we get your thoughts on this game. I do want to pat myself on the back. I think we all picked different finals results. Nakachamba tayo. We got yung wish ko, which is Knicks versus Spurs rematch 1999 finals. Maui, what are things to watch out for? What are you looking out for in this matchup? You mentioned Knicks are probably going to be underdogs here.
Yeah, I think the first thing I would say before we get to the finals is if you watch I think UEFA final, yung PSG game, nagka-riot in Paris. If the Knicks win the finals, I think there will be a riot in New York. Whether it be Game 6, Game 7, whether the final game will be in New York or in San Antonio, I think there will be a riot because I think 5 decades na ata, 1974, I think the last Knicks championship, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I'm excited. We get for the people always say for the 8th straight season we will get a new champion, but I think if I'm not mistaken, for the 8th straight season we will also get new finalists from both conferences. That's how crazy the parity has been in the NBA. I think the biggest winner for this finals is really Adam Silver for getting the NBA to this level of parity. I love the matchups. I love how Karl Anthony Towns might actually win a ring earlier than Jimmy Butler. Di ba si Wiggins? Butler was tormenting these two guys for not playing like champions. And Wiggins and Towns might actually end up winning a championship before him. So I love how the matchup of the finals. I hope si Fox is healthy because I want to see him and Jalen Brunson going head to head in the fourth quarter. These two guys are probably one of the most clutch players over the past 5 seasons. Probably contenders to clutch player of the year in multiple seasons. I like to see how the Knicks will match up with Wembanyama because they have so many wing players. Will they try Josh Hart? Will they try Anunoby? Will they try Michael Bridges? Or will they simply go to Karl Anthony Towns? I think what I was most disappointed about was si Mitchell Robinson. He just dislocated his finger. So I'm not sure
Yep.
if he's gonna be available in the finals.
He'll play though. He'll play though.
So that's a welcome sight because the Knicks don't have a very deep front court. I like how si Luke Cornett will be making his comeback to New York. Luke Cornett was drafted, I think, by New York. So many references, so many facts. I think this finals is I'm hoping it will reach 6 or 7 games. I will get to the prediction later, maybe when we predict. But I love the matchup from both ends of the floor. So many wing players, two big men who are not traditional big men, who can shoot from the outside, who can play make. Karl Anthony Towns could also play defense. But yeah, I'm excited. Uh, After LeBron, I would say the Spurs are the second team that I hope would make the finals in any season. So I'm happy.
Gab, what are you watching out for?
Uh, how the Knicks play Wemby. I think that's the most important thing. I think Maui mentioned it. I do think Mitchell Robinson is gonna start off on Wemby. Well, it's Karl Anthony Towns, but I think for majority of the series, we're gonna see a lot of OG. OG has the size to outmuscle Wemby. He has the foot speed to move with Wemby, uh, and you need that strength because that's for the past how many rounds that's been how teams have tried to match up against Wemby. Just put size on him, put guys with speed. He's gonna cook additional centers because he's way faster. He's way more skilled than those traditional centers. And you want to keep Karl Anthony Towns out of foul trouble. I think that's gonna be another thing because if he's the one defending Wemby, oh, he's surely gonna get a lot of fouls, and he gets a lot of fouls already as is. So I think that's one thing to watch out also. How will Mike Brown try to preserve Karl Anthony Towns? Because they're gonna need him on the floor. Though the one thing that worked against the Thunder and in the last series is that the bigs that Wemby was guarding were not shooting, diba? So he was always in the paint. He was just patrolling the paint. He could cover a lot of ground just by being in the paint. He can't do that with Karl Anthony Towns because Karl Anthony Towns, self-proclaimed best seven big man shooter ever, best shooter above 7 feet ever,
Yeah, yeah.
self-proclaimed. He's gonna shoot it, and I think if you're Mike Brown, you're gonna want Cat to start shooting because we're gonna need Wemby out of the paint, and their lineup of Brunson, Bridges, Josh Hart maybe not so much, but he can get hot. Towns and Anunoby, they all can shoot. I think the Knicks have a good perfect recipe for trying to address Wemby on the defensive end. Just get him out of the paint. Try to make him move. Try to get easy baskets when he's not there patrolling the paint. Karl Anthony Towns, whether the Knicks fans like it or not, a lot of the chances ride with him because if Wemby's gonna be allowed to roam like he did against OKC, Knicks are gonna have a hard time scoring. they already take a ton of mid-range shots, and if you shoot a lot of mid-rangers here against Wemby, I don't think that's a recipe for success. I think you should shoot a lot of threes, draw him out, then attack the paint. Force him to rotate, tire him out, make him guard on the perimeter. Uh, for the Spurs, I think a key here is Julian Champagny. Can he hit threes? Because he's one of the guys who can actually stretch the floor and be a threat and will make the Knicks pay attention. Uh, he's gonna give space to guys like Fox, Castle, and Wemby, and if he's hitting his threes like he did in Game 7, I think it's gonna be big time for the San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah, I agree. I think 100% agree on the cat take. I wrote here, can Carl Anthony Towns keep it together on defense? Basically, because he's going to be going up against Wemby. And you mentioned wala sila masyadong big men. For New York, I think for me, how can they adjust to not having home court advantage? Because all throughout the Eastern Conference, they've had the home court advantage. They've had the crazy New York fans behind them. How do they adjust now that they don't have home court and they're playing in San Antonio Game 1 and Game 2? They're on what? An 11-12 game winning streak. They're on a really long winning streak in the NBA, in the playoffs. What happens if they lose Game 1 and Game 2? Are they suddenly panicking? Is Carl Anthony Towns going to go back to just fouling to his old ways? Will Mikal Bridges go back to the bad Mikal Bridges that we saw at the start of the playoffs? That's something that losing is something the Knicks haven't experienced since the first round of the playoffs. So how will they react if they suddenly lose the first two games? Some of the things that I'm worried about with this Knicks team, because I to be honest, I really did not expect the Knicks to be this good, to just cruise through the playoffs to the finals. I think they're legit, but the Spurs are definitely the toughest competition they're going to face in the playoffs so far. Miles tougher than the previous competition, the Cavs. Probably well, technically Atlanta was the best competition against the Knicks. I think the Spurs are 100 times better than Atlanta. So how will New York perform or react, especially since they're playing in San Antonio in the first two games? For the Spurs, I think you mentioned the shooting of the role players. For me, it's still the health of Fox and si Harper. Will they be finally 100% when they play in the finals? They do get a couple of days rest. Same thing for Wemby. People keep bringing this up. Can Wemby last this long? He hasn't played this many minutes, this many games in the NBA since joining the NBA. So does he still have gas left in the tank for the NBA Finals? Because they just went through a grueling matchup against OKC. So that's what I'm watching out for on the Spurs side. Yeah, that's it.
Wait. Yeah, it's just some additional thoughts. How are the Knicks going to handle the physicality of the Spurs? There is one team from the.
They're not the Cavs who are pushovers.
Oh, the Spurs don't have a James Harden who they can just target. That's not gonna happen. All of the Spurs play tough, physical defense. All of the Spurs are good defenders. I don't think there's anyone in the Spurs you would just say, okay, we're hunting him. I don't think there's anyone there. Fox is not a bad defender. He's probably the weakest one in that starting lineup, but he's not a bad defender. If there is one team in the Eastern Conference who the Knicks have struggled with, it was the Pistons, diba? Who play a hard-nosed physical defense. Remember, I think the Pistons sweep the
Swept.
Knicks. I think,
They swept the Knicks.
yeah, and I think they blew them out nearly every game because the Pistons, their trademark is physical, in-your-face defense. The Knicks struggled with that. How are they gonna cope with the Spurs doing that to them? So that's something that has to be taken into account. On the other end, I said they can't target anyone on the Spurs. The Spurs can definitely target someone on the Knicks, and that's Jalen Brunson.
Mm-hmm.
So I do expect that the Knicks will try to hunt for Jalen Brunson on defense. So how are the Knicks going to cover for that? Will they try to go zone? Will they not switch? Just try to put Jalen Brunson away from the play as much as possible. It's something we have to watch. If Jalen Brunson gets in foul trouble, the next option, it's not too shabby. Si Miles McBride, si Deuce, but I think you'd want a full load of Jalen Brunson for each and every game here, especially when it comes to crunch time.
Okay. Before we get to our predictions, question for you guys. What's on your NBA Finals bingo card? What's something you want to see in the NBA Finals? I'll give you some examples. Let's say maybe a game-saving block from Wemby, mala LeBron chase down block on Andre Iguodala in the finals. What else? What's on my bingo card? The Knicks winning a championship in Madison Square Garden. So that's either game 4, they sweep the Spurs, or game 6. Imagine how crazy that would be if the Knicks win in game 6 in Madison Square Garden. People will riot. Si Mayor Mamdani, Zoran Mamdani shuts down New York for a week. That's on my NBA Finals bingo card.
He will declare martial law.
Martial law.
If you watch Daredevil
Shut down.
Born Again, he's gonna be Kingpin.
Kingpin, no? We're seeing a ton of New York vets in Madison Square Garden. Is this the moment we finally get to see Charles Oakley back in Madison Square Garden? All the sins will be forgiven if the Knicks win.
They are gonna bring back the entire 1999 Knicks team, and the Spurs
Pwede
are gonna
din.
bring back the 1999 Spurs.
Pwede din.
they're
That
gonna
could be
face
on our
off.
bingo card. Yeah.
We're gonna have
That could
Duncan versus Marcus Camby. We're gonna have
Ewing versus Robinson.
Ewing didn't play.
Yeah, he was injured. He was injured in the finals, but he was still there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna get Avery Johnson versus sino ba yun? Was it Charlie Ward or
Chris
Chris
Childs
Childs.
and Charlie Ward.
si Chris Childs, si the
Greg
Sprewell and
Anthony
Houston.
pa yan. Greg Anthony, di ba?
May
Sige,
Diba?
ganun ba si Greg Anthony nung 99? Oh, we
I'm not
definitely
sure.
have to check.
Sean Elliott for sure.
Sean Elliott for sure was on the Spurs. Duncan's definitely gonna be there. Yung on my bingo card, Sammy.
Yeah, bingo
give
card.
me 1999 NBA highlights, NBA Finals highlights. Oh, I'm sure NBC is gonna bring that out. Especially because I think they have the rights to it because they were the
5-1 5-1 5 games ata yun, 'di ba? 4-1. Knicks only won
I
one
think
game.
they were still the TV partner of the NBA back in 1999. So they're gonna have a lot. We're gonna see a lot of highlights from 1999.
Can they use the same floor design nung finals nung 1999?
I think this was the print, the print, big thick letters finals, not the the script finals font. So maybe just give us a throwback. Balik natin si Doug Collins on the call, di ba? Yung mga ganon. So yeah, that's on my bingo card. What else? Knicks fans getting angry at Carl Anthony Towns. I think there's this. It's bound to happen.
Oh,
He's gonna do something crazy.
someone gets blamed.
Hindi naman blame Sammy. Like, he'll pick up a stupid foul on Wemby. Like, he'll get his fourth foul in the
Fourth
second
foul,
quarter.
fifth foul, yeah.
Oh, and Knicks fans will be irate with him. What the hell, bro? Jose Alvarado is gonna get a technical foul, I'm sure. First game one, he's getting a technical foul. I'm sure he's gonna try to strip at Wemby, slap at him.
Oh, ang ganda nun. Alvarado versus Wemby. Face to face.
Yeah,
Ganda nun.
mark my words, he's gonna get a technical foul game one. Or probably him and Castle just facing off. I'm sure of it. Ano ba? For Mitchell Robinson, they're definitely gonna hack him. That's on my bingo card. I think that's a very viable strategy. I forgot who. Yeah,
Tapos si Pop
the
na ganun.
Cavs. Yeah.
The classic pop thumbs up.
The Cavs did it in game one against the Knicks. I think Mitch Johnson is gonna go to it, especially if Mitchell Robinson is on that is on the court towards the end of a quarter or something.
Yeah,
Maui.
I read that somewhere that Mike Brown was actually weaponizing teams intentionally fouling
Yes.
in the playoffs to get the Knicks into earlier foul trouble, then get him
Yes.
out once they are in foul trouble. So
To get the
intention-
opposing team into penalty,
the
basically.
penalty. Yeah, sorry, into the penalty early. So that's something to watch out for. I think si Mike Brown has been a fantastic coach so far. Grabe adjustments this playoffs, and it's crazy to think that he's in the finals on the other end facing a 22-year-old phenom. So let's see.
Okay, let's go to predictions. Maui, let's start with you. Predictions for the NBA Finals.
Sabi ng EA, the Knicks will win di ba? The finals. I think like a leak NBA script or something, or a prediction, but I will go with the Spurs. And the Spurs will end it in Madison Square Garden, Game 6, with Victor Wembanyama winning his first MVP, having a crazy all-time Game 6 in Madison Square Garden.
Gab, where are you going with this?
Knicks in 6, baby. I like how the Knicks have been playing. I want to see a wild celebrations outside Madison Square
Gab
Garden.
wants to see a riot in New York.
Yeah, I want to see Daredevil born again in real life. Let's
Oh my God.
declare martial law in the city of New York, in Manhattan. I think for New York fans, they've suffered long enough. Give them a championship. You know, I want to go in the next day and go on First Take. Go on YouTube and watch First Take and watch just how Stephen A. Smith
Lose his shit.
I want to see him just shout and celebrate. You know, orange and blue skies, baby. Orange and blue skies.
Actually, I think win or lose, Stephen A. Smith is gonna lose his mind. Either way, he's gonna lose his mind. I can't believe we're all in agreement. I do believe it's going to go into 6 games. I feel like it's going to be the Spurs, but wishful thinking din ako. I'm going with Gab. I do really wish it will be Knicks in 6, just to get to see New York win in Madison Square Garden. So I'm going Knicks in 6. Wishful thinking lang, but I do agree. It's going to take up. It's a relatively long game. Yeah. So I think that's it for our NBA Western Conference Finals reaction and Finals preview. Knicks versus Spurs. Can't wait to watch. Stay tuned for more episodes. If you haven't yet, please like this video, subscribe to our channel, comment down below your thoughts, your takes on the finals. We'll see you again next time. By the way, if you haven't joined yet, hindi pa naman huli ang lahat, you can still join the score prediction game on pusup.com for a chance to win some prizes care of Pusup. We'll see you again next time. Bye-bye. Ingat.